Hey everyone, SB Flawless 4 here. Welcome back to the Refill Studio. As always, get your cans ready. We're going to refill to 99 like we always do, and we'll be ready for this next set. So we have two special guests waiting on the other side of the studio, but before we go to them and hear their stories, I just want to quickly recap a few small updates before we do so. Again, this part will be a lot shorter than usual because there really hasn't been too much updates since the last time I did a podcast, so not too much here. I just want to first mention that at least on the JP Dory side, there's going to be a new Garpa Station live stream that's happening on April 25th. This live stream in particular is going to focus on the Golden Week campaigns as well as the upcoming cover songs I have mentioned in the previous podcast episode where they had a lot of hints and they're going to reveal what they are. So definitely be on the lookout for that. I will, of course, make a summary video of this live stream when it comes out, and it'll be on the channel very shortly. So again, if you are new here, subscribe to my YouTube channel. All that support is greatly appreciated. So again, not too many updates in regards to the franchise as a whole this time around. So I'm just going to jump straight to the studio question. This is a question I always ask my server members in my Discord server. And again, link is in the description if you want to join. I asked this question to my server members just to get them engaged in every podcast. And this question in particular, I talk about the 5th year anniversary of Ian Dory. So this month is sort of celebrating the 5th year anniversary. It has already passed, but again, the game has been out for 5 years in the EN server, which I think is a pretty big accomplishment. A lot of games don't usually last this long, but here we are with Bandori, like halfway through a decade later, still coming really strong. So I asked my server members, what are some memories they've had with the 5 years in the game and in the franchise. Now, of course, a lot of people may have not necessarily played the game since the start, like myself. I downloaded the game right at the beginning when it came out 5 years ago. Didn't really play until like a couple of weeks later, but still, regardless, it was pretty early on into the franchise. And for other people, it may not be the same, but regardless, I'm sure a lot of people had some really fond memories of the game as a whole. So I'm sharing some of the comments that we have on the side, one by one, what they think. A lot of people really mentioned their tiering achievements, which is understandable, right? When you think about the game as a whole, I think the tiering achievements really come out and make sense that this would be something that's most memorable. For me personally, I think one of my favorite experiences, I guess, tiering-wise, would definitely have to be my very first event, right? Trying to get my first top 100 in the ISIO event, the 1,000 Poems. It's a really long title. It's been a long time ago since I got that event, but that was definitely one of the most memorable experiences for sure. And yeah, also my T10 and the Melody of the Dignified Win. I thought that was a really fun, exciting event as well. A lot of really interesting events that occurred throughout my time tiering, and of course I do plan on hopefully doing one more before I say we'll see if I do any more tiering afterwards, but I do have one in mind next month very soon, so I might share some more stories about that in the future. I guess in terms of the franchise as a whole, right, like an entire game, I think it's really exciting, and I think it's really memorable to just kind of see how the community came together in a international perspective. Like in the game wise, of course, there's things like Nyan Cat and Baby Shark, maybe not too memorable there, but I think it's just really, it's a pretty notorious history in the game. And I think that's mentioning and worth sharing. And yeah, just the fact that the whole game is brought into the EN community, the worldwide community, and then hosting events like Care Expo and all that, I think it's definitely one of the more memorable experiences, not necessarily directly to the game, but still because it was brought internationally, it was able to bring and connect people together. So yeah. So I think that's definitely some of my memories of the 5th year anniversary for Ian Dory. Let me know in the comments below what you all think of some fond memories that you have about the game and this franchise as a whole as Ian Dory has reached its 5th year. And cheers to maybe hopefully 5 years to come. We'll see how that goes. Well, it does depend on JP Dory and how strong they are, which definitely seems like they're going in quite strong. So let's see how things go. And again, let me know in the comments below what are your favorite memories of the 5th year anniversary. So yeah, that's all I really want to mention. Nothing too important or serious about the updates. Let's just go right into the other side of the studio where we'll interact with our special guests. And for this episode and for this set, I have the honor and pleasure to welcome Scarlett and Kate to the studio. So, of course, Scarlett is a returning guest from our podcast, but has attained a few other titles since, including first place in the Spotlight Assertion event, as well as second place in the Scribble in the Blue and the recent 5:45 p.m. Event as well. Kate, on the other hand, has done a number of tiering. One of the notable ones includes a T10 in the One of Us event, possibly among many more. So thank you to both of you for taking the time to join the Refill Studio today.
Thank you, Will, for having me.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Anything else I would like to add to that intro? Might have missed a few things, but anything else to add?
I think we're okay.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, great. So again, both of you, once again, a pleasure to have you on. And, usually when it comes to our guests and when they come onto the podcast, the one thing I always want to ask them is how they first got into Bandere and how they heard about, this franchise and learn more. Of course, Scarlett, you already shared that story before. So I'll first go to Kate and ask this question of, first, how did you get into Bandere? Learn a little bit more about your origin story in terms of, where you first heard about it and, what kind of really convinced you to kind of stay and play the game.
Okay, well, my story's kind of weird. I think it was back in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So my friend, she was into Bandori at the time. Mm-hmm. And at first I didn't know anything about it until she would post about it. Mm-hmm. And so she would do this thing where she would assign her friends which character that they thought they were.
Uh-huh.
And so I wanted to, see what she thought of me as. And I got assigned as Tai from Poppin' Party. So it made me really interested. So I downloaded the game and I tried it out. And yeah, that's kind of just what happened. And I've kind of just gotten hooked to it ever since.
Oh, yeah. So that's a pretty interesting way of getting into the game where, someone was kind of assigning his characters and for you, they thought that you were very closely resemble Tai, really curious, see how things went. And it really kind of sucked you in. What in particular about the franchise did you really enjoy the most when you first played it? Was it the characters? Was it the music? A little bit of everything? Or?
Ooh, I think it was everything, to be honest. Just seeing the characters, and I really like the cards.
Mm-hmm.
All the characters had different designs and personalities, so it made them really likable. And yeah, I was able to bond with my friend because I started playing the game, and that's how I gradually ended up meeting more people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and of course, meeting a lot of wonderful people and the tiering community as well as at some point as well, which we'll certainly talk about in just a bit. I also am curious because again, your friend kind of associated with Tai, but of course you're not joining us today with a Tai profile picture. It's with Ron Mitake. Anything in particular that you want to mention about what makes in particular Afterglow and Ron in particular one of your favorite characters, if not your favorite in the franchise?
So I think Ron, she stood out a lot to me. Mm-hmm. I think what made me like her more is because I started playing around the 3-year anniversary or 4-year of Inandori, and so she had her Dreamfest card with Kanon, and so I got her and I just really loved her card, and I just gradually started liking her, looking more into her, and she was just someone people could relate to and just enjoy basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely see that, right? Like,
Yeah.
when you really start to like a character and really appreciate them, and you really get invested with them, you can definitely,
Yeah.
really start to get really focused into the series, and I can see how Ron could be a big part of your enjoyment to Bang Dream.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I'm sure our fellow guest Scarlett is exactly the same. When it comes
Yeah.
to talking about Ron Mitake.
Yeah.
What do you think you want to add about that, Scarlett, our fellow Ran Mitake enjoyer? When it comes to her character and what made you really enjoy her, and also, of course, because you've done so much tearing for her as well, like in particular about her character and such.
Ramitech saved my life.
Very true. Very true.
I don't really know. I just like rebellious characters, and like it was like I said in the previous podcast that I liked her for the Persona 5 collab at first, but now I came to like her for the character she is. But I just love her spirit. Like, she never stops burning bright in my eyes. Like, she always guys the pet. Like, how do I say this? She's like fire. I like that aesthetic.
The aesthetic, yeah, I can definitely see that for sure. And the fact that right now in JP Dory, right now she is a year older, into her 3rd year now, so one more year left in high school. I'm sure that you've seen the character grow, and you feel very proud that you see her continue to grow from there. So
yeah, absolutely. She was like first year when I started.
Yeah, so
I'm crying.
Yeah, so look at that. All the time has certainly changed, right? So we'll definitely continue to watch our Afterglow girls grow for sure. Of course, of everyone else in Bandery, and of course, our Afterglow lover fans here will definitely talk a little bit more about the passions of Afterglow very shortly in the events that we are going to cover. Now, going back to you, Kate, of course, getting into the side of the game as a whole is interesting, right? But getting into tiering and like the competitive side, that's obviously a very different beast in itself. You could very easily just enjoy the game casually, just be a very casual enjoyer. But what kind of started your intrigue of tiering? Like, where did that first start?
To be honest, I don't really remember like what made me think, oh yeah, I'm gonna, like play. But I can like notably remember when I like didn't know anything about how to tier, and I was like tearing on like one flame, and then by the end of that event, I realized that you could do 3 flames. I was like, okay. And then I think like my next attempt was it the first Rui banner? I think it's because like I had 2 out of 5, so I was like, okay, I'll just go for it. I ended up hubbing the whole time, and I fell short of my T100, but it's okay. I like, it was like trying something new. Yeah.
So you kind of had a little bit of competitive urges to try and get a top 100.
Yeah.
So that's quite interesting, because again, for some people they might think, oh well, the rankings or whatnot doesn't quite matter, but for you kind of wanted to try it out yourself, and did it all yourself, and almost got it, not quite there.
Yeah, I fell short, unfortunately. I think like I would remember seeing people in pubs with like top 100 titles or higher, and I would be one of those people just like, whoa, that's so cool. I want to get something like that.
Yeah,
that'd be so nice to have.
Yeah, I could see that influence could certainly come in and play a part. Another thing as well, right? Like, getting maybe coming short of your goal, of your title might, for some people might be pretty demotivating and may decide not to pursue or try again. But obviously, I don't think that happened, right? You ended up getting some titles in the future. So, was there anything in particular that kind of inspired you to say, hey, like, we're going to continue and try again?
Well, so I already had like a good team saved up for one of us, which was the event that I wanted to go top 100 for.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just saving up resources. I already knew like how to tier. Like, even though I was like pubbing, like I still knew like all the mechanics and like just saving cans, just saving whatever until, when that whole thing happens with it getting like moved or something. So, but that was more fortunate for me because that happened around my Christmas break, I think. So I got really lucky, and so I knew that like I didn't want to pub, and I knew that like maybe there were tiering servers around, but I didn't know where to look. So that's when like I reached out to Scarlett. Yeah, so I asked her and she gave me her server and I joined, and that's how everything happened. That's basically how I got here.
Wow. Yeah, I was actually going to ask, a little bit later about how, you first met Scarlett and how you kind of got to know each other. But that's how kind of also leads to the fact that how you got to learn a little bit more about tiering and the community as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's great to hear that you were able to join the community by really finding someone who, of course, has done many notable tiering achievements as well, and is able to kind of bring you in and really kind of get the ropes going with tiering. Scarlett, do you also remember that day when when Kate reached out to you and asked about tiering and all that?
I'm gonna be real. I know a lot of people, so like from Instagram or other social media. So I don't really remember how we met.
Oh no!
Kate. But I do remember Kate reached out to me in one of our events. Like we were talking in Titan chat. Oh, this person wants to Titan, and it was mid-event. So I was like, you guys can do whatever you want. I'm just focusing here, and I just let Kate Titan in my roster because I don't remember much because I was too focused on tiering myself.
Oh, okay. Well, that's okay, Scarlett. We'll definitely eventually go back to one of us. I know we've talked quite a bit about it in your last episode, but we're going to talk a little bit more about it because I want to, of course, hear the other perspectives as well. But Kate, when you first joined the tiering server, like what was your sort of thoughts, right, about what the format is like? Because of course tiering servers are very different from pubbing, of course. Like that initial idea of like following these rules and all this stuff and joining the community, was that overwhelming at first, or did you find it to be a pretty nice smooth transition in?
Well, I would say it was a little overwhelming because I knew that like it was gonna be competitive. So I do remember this one time where like I like kind of griefed the room while Scarlett was in there, and I felt so bad. It was like while I was tiering, like going for top 100, and I just remember that moment, and I still feel bad about it, but I do remember like reading all the rules, making sure like I got everything. Overall, I'd like to think that I did okay, but yeah, who knows?
Well, I mean, regardless, though, right? The fact that you joined in, and I'm sure that despite all the rules that you may have to follow, and the maybe the transition of trying to figure out what tiering is like and being efficient, that might be tough at first. But the fact that you still stuck around and eventually did more events after and joined more servers after is a testament to show that I'm sure that you enjoyed it in parts, regardless. So.
Yeah, because I definitely didn't have like any experience with like tiering in private servers until one of us, and that ended up being like somehow like I somehow was able to stay or like be let into the roster, which is crazy to me still, because like I had no experience beforehand. So I'm just grateful for the opportunity that the mods and Scarlet gave me.
Yeah, so I mean, it's quite fascinating again that not only you'll be able to experience and share that title that you had in top 10 and one of us, but also doing it with the person that sort of inspired you through the whole process and the whole journey.
Definitely. So yeah.
That's wonderful to hear. So Kate, that's again great to hear about your experiences of first getting to tiering, and we'll definitely talk about one of us very shortly. I just want to briefly go back to Scarlet and kind of go back to ask you, because again, these questions about like how you first got into tiering and such, again, we already have a pretty good idea of how you've done that. Now, as someone who is a little bit more maybe veteran into the community now, so what is it? What do you find the most? I guess a different question. What do you find most exciting or inspiring when you hear like newer players like Kate like reaching out to you and asking about what tiering is like? Like what was your reaction when you see that?
How did I reply to this?
Did I put you a little bit on the spot there?
Sorry, I'm thinking.
No, all good.
It's just I like being able to guide people, like not really in a bad way, I'm sorry, I'm just thinking. I like being able to guide people and be a sister to them. I think, like, even if I'm not older in age, or like I don't know anyone's age much, but I think I like being a sister figure to people, if that makes sense. Like, I like being able to help them. It's just how I am. I like helping people in general, and seeing people happy, achieve their goals makes me happy. And I witnessed a lot of people I met that were aspiring tierers in other servers, and they got T1s, T10s now. I feel like they grew under me, like in front of me. It feels weird.
Yeah,
it's a kind of weird story.
Yeah, it's I mean, again, just the fact that you can really see how like the tiering community is a lot about passing the baton, because when I first joined the community, I definitely didn't know much about it. I'm sure when you first learned about tiering, Scarlet, it was the same, right? But kind of hearing from the people that really helped you in the journey, and you really get inspired from that, and then just move on and be able to continue to pass that baton to newer tiers as well. And I'm sure Kate, in the future, that might be you as well. You might be passing the baton to someone else as well. When it comes to tiering, so you never know. So it's always a fun loop there.
Definitely.
Yeah. Is there one thing about, and I'll ask this to both of you, is there one thing about tiering in particular, there's like one, I guess, tip or strategy, if there's one like really main thing that you would suggest to new tiers, like one very like one of the most important tips you think you could give, what would that be?
Do I go ahead?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay. Actually, I do have a rough idea in my mind, but it's gonna sound weird because my emotions are very complicated in general, but
Mhm.
how I feel regarding tearing is you have to keep up your blazing spirit up, like if
Mhm.
that makes sense. I think passion is everything in tearing. Like there are events you love, you like to tear, and there are sometimes, rarely, but there surely are events that you are desperate to tear. And I think following your heart is important in this, is what I will say. Like a lot of
Mhm.
people tear at main events, but not every event is that event for those people.
Mhm.
So I think finding that event is important, like at least for me.
Mhm. Yeah, finding an event that you're very passionate about, and I think that also not only comes down to the event itself, but also the people around you as well to really help
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and support. So I could definitely see that. That's a very important thing, right? You want to be you don't want to feel discouraged. You want to feel that this is something you really want to do, and yeah, choosing an event is if that really is meaningful to you is very
yeah.
important. Yeah, I agree with that. Kate, what about you? Anything that you know, again, as a relatively newer tier, like what would you say, to someone who's even newer?
Um,
A tip.
I would say, um, I don't know how to word this. Just savoring and the time like
Hmm.
you spend, like just meeting new people, meeting new friends, and like making connections.
Hmm.
Um, I know like sometimes there's like stress over ranks and stuff,
Hmm.
but what stuck out to me was like everyone who would like support each other, or like make sure they're doing okay. So I think just like I guess I would say making memories and just meeting new people. It's very
Hmm.
important, and that's like what made my journey like so much better. It's just
Hmm.
like having company around. So yeah.
Hmm. For sure, for sure. And Kate, it all kind of started with your courage to kind of reach out and learn more about tiering servers. Of course, joining the first one is always the most difficult, but
Yeah.
once you join the
Yeah.
first one, it's a lot easier from there. And the great thing
Mhm.
about just that kind of community is that everyone in that server is all there because they all are passionate about a particular event.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's really easy to build connections where you're all wanting to aim for similar goals and are very passionate with the event and all want to work together. So I could definitely see that being very important. And then just building the connections and memories so
Yeah.
that,
Agree.
yeah, I think it's a very, very powerful tip as well. Yeah. So again, newer tiers, again, it takes a bit of courage, but once you take that first step and build the connections, really find something that you're passionate about, it really kind of becomes almost second nature from there. So
Yes.
great, great. All right. So yeah, thank you to both of you for some lovely stories there. Let's go into a bit more detail with the specific events that you have tiered. So, Kate, again, for you, you got T10 in the One of Us event, and you've already briefly described how you were just kind of, in a sense, led into the roster, and then kind of right off the bat, just get your feet wet when it comes to a very high tiering experience. So,
Yeah.
first of all, what was that initial impression like? When you first got into the roster, and then it's like, what did you do to kind of prepare yourself for such an event?
Okay, so I'll be talking about like a bit before I got
Sure.
at it, if that's okay.
Hmm.
So I remember I like was just playing in the second room, I believe, because like G1 was full.
Hmm.
Um, I was just like going for top 100, and somehow like I was still on the leaderboard. I was playing for like 5-6 hours since the event start.
Hmm.
I thought like I would just get a start dash, but then I was like, wait, top like 11th place is like pretty low. Like, what if maybe if like they stay, like, they don't catch up basically,
Hmm.
that I could ask if it's possible. But I started like freaking out a bit. So
Hmm.
I was like, I just got here like a couple of days ago and no one knows who I am. So I do remember like just like just talking about it. I didn't know what to do, and so I also went to like the official Bandori server, and I was just talking about it, and I remember Sen was there, and she like gave me advice and gave me tips, you know, and that helped like calm me down and like just like realize that maybe I can go for this, and like, you know, maybe like I'm not taking anyone's place or stuff like that. So that's how I asked like the mods if it was possible, and the opportunity came. So shout out to Sen. But yeah, Sen was really helpful with that. So when I got in the roster, I don't really remember much. I feel like all I did was like play and take breaks. I like met the roster that I was playing with. They're all really kind, really nice, and supportive. I got to learn a lot from them and just like play with them, you know. I think that was like pretty much it. Like when I first initially got in, there's like more like towards like the end of the event. But I don't know if I should like talk about it now or later. You know.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely segue to that point very shortly. Now, of course, you also mentioned how it kind of everything seemed to all line up, right? When it came to this event, right? Again, this was delayed because we love Iandori and their Google stuff and all that fun stuff. It got delayed for a long time, and it got delayed to the point where it actually kind of fit your schedule.
I know. That was really fortunate for me. And honestly, I'm not complaining.
Yeah, Scarlett might have mauled it a bit, but
I'm complaining a
lot. But yeah, I think for you, Kate, it was it kind of worked out at the end.
Yeah.
So throughout the event, did you find it to be challenging to keep playing for so many hours at end? Because again, this was the first time you've done something like this, right? Just playing for hours and hours and hours at end. So did you find it to be difficult, or did you find ways to kind of pass the time? And as the event went along, how was that you're able to manage that?
I'm starting to like slowly remember more about how the event went.
Yeah.
So towards the middle, I kind of just like slacked off, to be honest. Like all I did were like Nat Flames. I didn't really go in and tier like towards like the middle part of the event because like I thought no one was pushing. At first we were like running from this like pubber, but eventually like I didn't care anymore and just like let them go ahead. So yeah, I believe like me and Liz, who's also a runner, we just like chilled, but then the end got a little hectic. So that was where like I truly like experienced what it was like.
So like I imagine there was someone who was kind of chasing, possibly trying to get like the last few spots in T10, and you're like, oh wait.
Yeah, we were like, hold on. So when we noticed that they were getting close, I had to move. But there's like sort of like thing with a runner. I won't really like specifically get into it, but just like they just like wanted to drop, and I felt really bad because like I met them and I talked to them and they just seemed so nice, and just like realizing that they're like probably not gonna make it, it's like it made me feel sad about that. So I just had to keep pushing. I remember like getting maybe 4 maybe hours of sleep before I got woken up by a runner, and they told me that like I had to move. That was a very nice experience.
Oh boy. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the fact that you got you were able to get woken up and you actually did wake up and playing a little sleep deprived and all that. I imagine.
Yeah, definitely.
Imagine
I
it
don't
wasn't
even know
fun.
how I did it.
Yeah.
And thankfully, the runner that I was talking about, they got the motivation to play again. And
Mm-hmm.
so in the end we were able to like get in the leaderboard together, which made me super happy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's very sweet. That's a very sweet story, Kate. Especially when you talked about how again building the connections is very important, and you came into the server as a stranger, but in that
I
like
know.
6-7 days, you built all these all these connections, and then from there you'd be able to get the tiering title with someone who now again you initially thought was maybe you might leave behind, but you all kind of work together and get the titles together. So that's wonderful.
It is.
Yeah. Did you what place did you get? I don't actually quite know.
Oh.
What do you even remember?
I think 8th.
8th, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, 8th, I think.
Yeah. Basically, it's definitely around the T10, like near the cutoff mark. Because again, if people were chasing you, then that would have been something. So.
I think Liz wanted 9th or something, or she was just going for a certain park, and I didn't know how to park, so I just went wherever.
Yeah.
So me, Liz, and Belle, we worked it out, I guess.
Worked it out, yeah. Good. Well, again, it's a great story to hear, Kate. Again, and just another perspective about one of us. Again, it was a very, very chaotic event, a very eventful event. It was many years ago. Years ago? Has it already been years ago?
Oh,
when I was a child.
Oh man, but that's another wonderful perspective of that event, right? Obviously, there was the big gauntlet of first and second, but just hearing the lower ends as well, the lower event sort of cutoffs were also very competitive as well. So
I think the biggest moment that stood out to me was at the end of the event, everyone was supporting Scarlet, and it just made me realize how much she brought the community together just from doing this, because we were all seeing her fight. She was giving it her all, and it was just really inspiring to me, and probably to a lot of people who just got into the community. So
definitely.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Yeah, so it really shows that this event was a very meaningful event. Again, Scarlet was very meaningful to you, but as you could see, very meaningful to other people as well. So
yeah.
Hey everyone, hope you're enjoying the episode so far. As a reminder, the Refill Studio podcast is available on all of your favorite podcast platforms. Check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. And when you're there, make sure to leave a high rating and also leave a comment, because all support with regards to bringing more exposure to the Refill Studio podcast is greatly appreciated. Speaking of support, big shout out and thank you to the Filler Nation members who've been constantly supporting me in making my content. So you'll be featured in videos like these. And again, I want to say a big thank you to you all for supporting me on my content. So if you want to be a part of the Filler Nation and you want to support me and my content, feel free to join by subscribing to my Twitch channel. Links in the description below. And in the description, you also see the link to my Unga Academy Discord server, where you can join fellow members who are passionate about Bang Dream and also be able to interact with special guests featured on this podcast. You'll also be able to participate in the studio question that appears on every episode. So we look forward to seeing you there. So let's hop right back into the episode. Again, Scarlet, I know you've talked many about One of Us already, but do you from the discussions we had with Kate, were there anything that you recall about as well that maybe you didn't share previously, or anything there?
Nothing really about One of Us. It's just I think there are stuff that I felt after One of Us that I didn't talk about before, and it's been a long process that it's like I took a lot of time. Like just recently, I came to realize what I really feel about that event, and like how I will act with these feelings, and how I like. I'm sorry, it's just very hard to put my emotions into words, but it's just I recently realized what I want to really do after One of Us.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And again, it's been a while since we last spoke about since that event, and look at you got a whole bunch of new achievements from there, right? So, you had a couple of T2s and of course the T1. So we'll kind of go in order in like the progression here, right? In terms of the timeline. So the next event that kind of came up was Scribble in the Blue. Where you got the T2 there. So I think that this was also, again, was initially going to be your T1 attempt, your next T1 attempt after One of Us, of course. So take us down memory lane, Scarlett, of how that event went in terms of preparations, trying to gun for that T1, and what really happened there.
Okay, so I got a T3 before that, but it's not very important for me. I don't think I was able to make memories like I will care about, if I'm honest. And it was a pretty depressing event for me, the Tales from Splendid Night one. I just don't like to talk about it much.
No worries about that.
After that, I got a full-time job just to tear Scribble in the Blue, because people have motivated me, like, you should get a job or do art commissions so you can save up for T1 attempt. Like, you want to try again and you love Afterglow, so you should do it. People motivated me. And I just got more motivated and some confidence boost from them. And I got a full-time job. Worked very hard, and it was my first job ever. It was an interesting experience considering it was for a game, but Scribble in the Blue didn't go as planned. Like a lot of things happened there. I think I was running for the wrong purposes, to be honest, because after One of Us, I thought that I should get a T1 to make me feel better about it. If I got a T1, I will feel better about my T2, I thought. But losing Scribble in the Blue didn't kind of affect me that much, because I wondered why I didn't feel depressed as much as I did in One of Us, because it shouldn't be like that. I still lost. I got another T2, but I somehow didn't care. It's just then I was thinking of dropping tiering completely or changing my name in the community. A lot of thoughts that I was dealing with. I think Scribble in the Blue was the reason I made my friend server, to be honest. So I made a friend server where I could talk to my friends. I invited my Scribble in the Blue mods there. SWA server. Shout out to Al here. So I'm thinking. Oh my gosh, the stamp they're sending in the chat. That distracted me. Oh my gosh. So I Scribble in the Blue, it was a defeat, but I didn't give up entirely, but I still wanted to keep running. It's just I wanted to run for Spotlight Assertion this time, but right after the Spotlight Assertion, 545 event happened. So, I was going to T1 board. Like, what are my dream events? So I want to do this. I want to do that. But star prices got expensive, like 5 more times suddenly.
Yeah, definitely.
It was like, I couldn't afford one of them anymore. And I barely did 2 of them. But at first I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go for spotlight assertion first. Then I thought, am I aiming for a T1 like I did in Scribble W, or do I wanna go for my dream event 5:45 p.m. and get a possible T2? Like, it was a choice I had to take. Like, Spotlight could be an easier T1 for me because I have optimal team and CL experience, while Medley you need 3 teams, and I don't really have a Veil band for it. So I veiled too hard. I tried to prepare for bot, got optimal spotlight assertion team, also got 11 or more 4 stars for Medley. Like, I just forced myself to afford it.
Wow.
And it's just, I run out of funds after Spotlight, but okay, now the Spotlight, after Spotlight, is pretty important event for me. Oh, wait, sorry, I forgot to talk about one thing. How could I forget my GP Titan?
Yeah.
It's just, I think I was like, in my server, oh yeah, I'm gonna go for Spotlight, and 5:45. I was super incisive that I was annoying to my friends. They were like, stop being incisive already, decide already. And I was like, I can't decide, please don't let me decide yet, I'm thinking. So it was very hard, but at that time, Roselia vs. Afterglow Part 2 got announced on JP. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna T10 this on JP. And everyone was like, what are you doing? That was pretty shocking for me and everybody. Because I was already planning to do that before the event got announced, because I just thought of it as a preparing attempt for my next T1 attempt. Like, I want to get stronger in stamina, have some experience in JP. I want to... But in the end, I think the main reason was that I loved the event so much, which I'll talk about later. But it was a pretty awakening event for me. Like, I think it was the event that made me feel what one of us did. So, which I will talk for surely. But I got a JP Titan. Like, I kept talking in Google Translator all the time with JP tiers. Like,
oh, that's nice.
It was pretty hard, yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. But that's...
I had cringe moments where we couldn't even communicate, but we kept laughing in the VC. Oh my gosh.
Oh man, wow.
I think it was a pretty good experience overall, but then I started preparing for 5:45. I announced in my server that, oh yeah, I'm dropping Spotlight, and gave the Spotlight T1 spot to somebody else. And then I felt like competing again, which was kind of bad of me. But something happened in there that I kind of managed to take the T1 spot again, and everyone was like, do you want to go for 5:45 or Spotlight? Just decide already. I was
the answer was yes.
I want to do that. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go for Spotlight for sure this time. Like, I'm set on this. I'm gonna do it for sure. And the last week before the event, I was like, should I go for 5:45 instead? Oh my gosh.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
The indecisiveness.
Yeah, because the 2 of the events mattered too much to me. Like, they were both on an equal level, if I had to express. Like, I cared too much about them. And I tiered Spotlight. To be honest, it didn't go the way I expected it to be, because I felt kind of sad during the event, had some mental troubles, like, am I doing not enough? Am I not, like, I wasn't meeting my expectations. Sorry, by the way, this is a long talk. I will finish soon.
No, okay.
It's okay. It's just a long story, but I think I was disappointed in myself and my performance, my expectations from myself, because I really wanted to hit my goal EP, but it was very high, and I think I did my best, which I can be proud of. But it didn't feel like the end of the road when I get to T1. Like it felt like there was something missing. It wasn't that I finally got my T1. I finally got my aim, which I've been struggling to get. But what was missing, I didn't know about that until now. I felt empty almost. Like, yeah, I got a T1, but whatever, I feel so sad. I felt that. And I didn't have stars for 5:45 either. Then I started failing harder for 5:45 p.m. I got that too, which made me realize quite a lot of stuff. Why I felt that way after Spotlight. I think 5:45 was awakening for me because I think I just realized that Spotlight and not any T1 will make me feel better. Like I do care about Spotlight because I would of course not tier an event I didn't care about naturally, but the missing thing was the passion the one of us had in me. So Spotlight didn't fill the gap in my heart. And it made me realize that Scribble wouldn't do that too. And I don't think any T1 would have done that, except one that I will talk about now. I think at the same time I was aiming for Roselia vs. Afterglow Part 2 on EN T1. I started aiming for that. And basically, I think it was an awakening event for me, like I said, because it made me feel what one of us did. I think I felt I regained my passion. I felt the drive. I didn't care about any event as much as that until the moment it got announced. And a lot of emotions came back to me. Like I put a goal to my mind. Like I think for the whole time in my tiering process and experiences, like past, I've been struggling to get T1, but that was all for nothing. Like I shouldn't aim to break records or get random T1s. Like not random, but I shouldn't just aim to go for like how would I say this? I don't know. I shouldn't aim to break records or stuff, or if it don't matter.
It kind of goes back to what you mentioned before, right? You know, trying to find something you're passionate about, right? Just a T1 banner, right? Just alone, right? Just saying that you got T1 may not feel actually that special to you if it's not for an event that you're passionate about or something you really enjoy. So
I'm gonna finish, but I think sorry, I keep struggling.
Go ahead. I interrupted your thought there, so.
Oh, it's okay. I realized breaking records or aiming for stupidly high AP won't solve the hole in my gap. It won't take the pain of one of us defeat. So I was like, I realized I just want to go for this event because Roselia vs. Afterglow Part 2, because it matters so much to me. It awakens me a feeling I thought I had forgotten in one of us. I want to, it still stands in not past tense, but I want to feel that emotion, that passion, that burning spirit once again in that event, because it matters so much to me, and I want to make it a great experience and make sure I will do my best in that event. Hopefully, even if I don't, I just want to have fun because it's truly the event that gave me all the passion I thought I had forgotten a long time ago. It matters so much to me at the moment.
Well, there, yeah. Well, Well, again, thank you again for sharing quite a very comprehensive like journey of like your events as a whole. There's a lot to unpack with what you mentioned, so I'm gonna go back and talk about some of the things you mentioned, and I jot down a few things here. Well, first of all, the fact that getting a full-time job is that's great work, right? Finding a full-time job, that's all obviously really nice, but I think that also gives you a perspective that wow, funds is not easy. It gives you a perspective for sure of like, oh wow, like this is what it costs and what it takes, and you really kind of learn a wonderful perspective from there. Another really big takeaway I got from that, Scarlett, was just how Scribble was definitely an event that kind of changed you in a way that for the better, I would say, right? Just the fact that you were able to learn a little bit more about yourself and what you wanted to do. And just really enjoying that experience as a whole in tiering, right? Because again, sometimes for a lot of people, and everyone's tiering priorities are different. Again, as you mentioned, some people want to break records. Some people want to show that they have all these T1s or all these T10s or whatnot, but everyone is different, right? Personally, for me, I enjoy the experience more than anything. Like if I get if I put my work my butt off and I get a T4, like it's not going to be the end of the world for me personally. Obviously for other people that might be the case, but again, everyone is different. So I think the fact that you were able to learn from yourself and learn exactly what you're most, why you want to do tiering, I think from the three events that you've done, I think it's really important that we heard about that, and you got a chance to learn about yourself, and other people could also reflect on what else they think that they're passionate about as well. So
I think I would like to add one more thing, but I realized that I don't really regret any of my failures, even one of us, because it made me who I am today, if it makes sense. But I know if I won one of us, things will have been much different. I could have been a personally completely weird, not weird, but different person. Like, and I could have gotten cookie or stuff maybe, but instead my confidence dropped. But I realized none of them were for nothing, because I guess I wanted to encourage people listening or will listen to this that even if you fail, it's okay, because I want you to think of it like a learning experience. It really is hard to accept at first, but it really is a learning experience. Like for me personally, it gave me the push to try harder, and actually, like it took 2 years to think about all this and came to realize what I really feel. But so these are my 2 years of experience talking here, but I think none of it is a waste, because it will help you. It will show you the path, so you can go for a greater goal than what you previously did.
For a lot of people, when you think about tiering, you just kind of think of it as, just tap, 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 play just for a long time and get a JPEG. But, I think just from our stories today, from what we've learned, sometimes it's a lot more than that, right? Like you learn a lot about yourself. You learn about your priorities. You learn about, again, what Kate mentioned, building connections, finding people that you're passionate about, for and passionate with. And kind of learning, again, there's a whole journey to it. Like you'd honestly write like a whole story about it. So it's really wonderful to hear that again. I think my biggest, I guess takeaway, and I think that I'm really proud of you for this, Scarlett, is just how you really thought of this as a great learning experience, something you don't regret, and you feel that this is a great part of your overall tiering journey, right? Some of the goals you may have not necessarily gotten, the ones that you wanted, and even the ones that you've gotten, maybe there were some regrets along the way. But again, that all builds towards what you want to do as a person as a whole, and of course what you want to do in the future. So very well done with all your achievements there. So
thank you.
Yeah, Great. This actually kind of leads to the studio question, which I asked many of our members in the Discord server, and I'm going to ask it to you two as well, because might as well ask this, because again, the game has been out for 5 years. Of course, maybe neither of you have played the game actually for 5 years. Maybe so, but if not, that's perfectly okay. I'm sure you've had a wonderful memory in the game. So very briefly, like, is there any part about the game, within its 5 years so far, that you feel that you had the biggest or most everlasting memory in?
Okay, so I think it was when One of Us ended.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a pretty emotional moment for me, seeing people support me, cheer me on, saying me good things. I think at that moment I felt like I disappointed people. I wish that people could cheer me on with better results. Like, oh my gosh, you got a Scarlet. Like, you got T1. Oh my gosh! But I wish that happened. But that didn't happen. But I still really appreciated all of that, and I still do. That after the event, I go back to the One of Us server so many times, like so many times. I did read the G1 chat, general chat, back read a lot. I backlogged a lot. Even my friends did. They got emotional too, and like, I think ending was the most important moment and I ever felt in this game. Like, I think it was enchanting somehow. Like, it was bittersweet. Like, I was disappointed, very sad, coming to terms with these emotions were hard, but I was somehow happy that people were supporting me. I was like crying all day, but it was pretty important for me.
Yeah, definitely. Well, again, wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Again, it's just, I'm sure it's a very powerful and emotional memory that you have about the game Scarlet. Yeah. Kate, what about you? Anything from your journey of playing Bandery that you feel that is the most memorable? Again, it could be one of us, but it may be something else. I'm not sure if you have a fond memory of Iandori throughout all these years here.
Okay, so yeah, definitely the end of One of Us was like a big moment. I remember that clearly. It was such a good time being able to experience it and be in it. But I would say honestly a bigger moment was when I tiered the Sayosugu. That event. That was like a couple months ago. But that was like an attempt in getting top 10 again. It was a medley, so I was really concerned about like having company and stuff. And are you okay about me like talking about this for a bit?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Okay. So when the event came out, I originally like wanted to go for top 50 because I thought after One of Us that like I wasn't gonna tier high anymore. It was like I didn't feel like, staying up for that long. So I liked everything about the event, like the characters and the theme, the cards. It was just really nice, and it like reignited that passion that I had for One of Us. I already had the experience, but the problem was that it was a medley event, and I didn't know when the event would happen because of the speed up. So I just tried to, do as much as I can, and I was also indecisive if I should go for it. But I think like during the month that the event was gonna happen, I like decided to commit to it because I was like looking at all the past medleys and like, the cutoffs and how competitive it might be. And I'm like, since it's a mixed medley and since it's a medley, it probably won't be that competitive. Maybe I can just, play and then just dip, I guess.
Yeah.
That ended up not being the case. So a problem that I had was that I didn't have any cards, and
Mhm.
I wasn't really gonna spend money to get more cards.
Yeah.
So I actually only had 2 cards out of 15. So I was working with, a big load. Um, and I had been talking to Matthew at the time. Um, I had no idea that he was gonna go for it as well, and that just like made me really happy, just like knowing that maybe I have company, just someone to talk to. Um, so what happened was, um, he wanted to go for T1, and
Mhm.
I was like, "Oh, okay, maybe I can go for T2. Like we can just like uh, be on the leaderboard,"
Mhm.
and that's what we were going for. But I I didn't know who was going for it. I
Mhm.
knew that a person was gonna go for it, and like they're like very formidable. But since like I looked at all the past medleys and saw how like not competitive they were, I was like,
Mhm.
maybe that's just it. Maybe it's just them and like a couple other people.
Yeah.
But I didn't know Pastry was gonna go for it, and I didn't know Cafe was gonna go for it, and
Uh-huh.
all these other Sayo Sugu fans lurking in the dark just waiting to go for it. So when I looked at the leaderboard, I was like, oh dang, uh, I don't think this is gonna work. And well,
Mhm.
to be honest, I was okay with it.
Yeah.
Podium's like a really far stretch, and all these formidable people going for it. I was like,
Mhm.
well, it's okay. So me and Matthew were okay with it. We just kept playing. It was very competitive. So before uh, the event started, I made a server, like a Hangout
Mhm.
server. Um, I think the event before that was the Karu banner
Yeah.
for yeah. And I had met Kay and Snips, and I was able to like know them. So I invited them, and I invited some other people that like I knew, and I just wanted my identity to be like kept a secret. I didn't want anyone to know that I was going for it. But somehow I had this idea of just like matching usernames. So I brought it up
Mhm.
with Matthew because like he was also going for it.
Mhm.
So we ended up being chocolate roll cake and vanilla roll cake because
Mhm.
the event title had chocolate roll cake in it.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so yeah, just something like a little cute, I guess. So what happened in the event, like the first day?
Mhm.
Uh I honestly like am proud that I was able to like extend my limits. Cause well originally in one of us, I guess like my like record for like consecutive playing was like what 9 hours, which is like
Mhm.
not really impressive compared to other people.
Mhm.
But in Sayosugu, I think I did like a 12-hour dash, and then um I decided just to like take a 3-hour nap because I was kind of bored and it was like 5 a.m. So like why not? Just to like adjust to the schedule.
Mhm.
Um I remember Snips was calling with me that night and just keeping me company, and I was just doing absolutely anything to stay awake. Just like chewing popcorn or like eating gum.
Mhm.
Um So I really appreciated Snips for like just staying up and like streaming things for me, just giving me company. Um, and then after that 3-hour nap, I like did a 21-hour sprint again.
Mhm.
So I'm honestly like pretty proud of that because
Yeah.
after like a 3-hour nap, it's like you start feeling it, and I think yeah, I just like kept going, just sleeping and then like, keep going again.
Mm.
So I just like throughout the event, it was really boring, like just playing alone.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't really have anyone you're playing with or like just like looking in the chat, just seeing, how they're feeling. But definitely like people in my server, they were just hopping into VC, just like giving me company. Just like I remember me, Matthew, and Nag, we were watching MasterChef or something. That was really entertaining. And then I think there was one of the nights where I was just, I just kept playing until like what 3 something a.m. I was really feeling it. I think that was like one of the day that like I actually felt the fatigue, and I was again doing absolutely anything to just stay up and just like get through it. Cause since I had like not that many cards, I had to like make up with it by time. So I tried to like play as much as I can, and there's a Kirumi who like he stayed up with me like the whole the whole time. I remember it was such a memorable moment because it made me realize like, dang, I didn't know that people were willing to like stay up with me and like give me company. Like they have their own lives and stuff, but just taking time out of their day to just give me company, like it made me feel really valued, and I just appreciated all the support and just like all the new records I was hitting with that event. And I was grateful for everyone who came in. Like Scarlett also came in and just like gave me company as well and was cheering me on, which I'm very grateful for.
Well, the fact that you're able to share so much about that really just shows how passionate and proud you are about that achievement. So.
I'm very proud because like despite my very bad team and me not being as efficient, because with medleys you can kind of just stop whenever you want to and just take a break or something, and so I kept doing that.
Me too.
It's so easy to do that. So it's not a good thing. But I like kept playing with Matthew. Me and Matthew kept like checking in on each other, making sure that we were doing okay. Because well, Matthew had like a way better team than I did. So he could like just play less but still gain more than me. Because I was like, I think the optimal points for like that event is like what 22k, but I was only getting like 17.5k. So in the long run, it makes a big difference. I had to like make it up with time. I had to challenge myself and like going through all the sleep deprivation. But yeah, I just remember like mainly just Kirumi and Nag, and just how much company they gave to me, and Nag slowly driving me insane during that event.
Nag. Oh no.
Yeah, he was very silly for that. So
damn.
it's okay.
I was speaking of people in VC. I was gonna mention like Snips was in there for a while, and like I was thinking, man, Snips voice reveal, but I don't think that happened.
They streamed like videos for me. It was like what 4 a.m. and I told them, I was like, I'm kind of craving some desserts right now, and so they thought it was a good idea to like stream some desserts.
Oh no!
Like people making desserts, and that was a funny time.
Oh boy!
Like Snips gave me a lot of advice on like how to handle the event since it was like the first day. So yeah, I'm like really appreciative of like their support and
Mhm.
like, you know, everything that they've done for me. And of course, everything else.
For sure, for sure. Well, that's a
Yeah.
wonderful story, Kate, once again, and you're able to do that event. Did you end up getting what rank did you end up getting, if you don't mind me asking?
I got 6, I
6.
think.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was another T10 in your belt.
Yeah,
So,
it's
oh,
6, like almost 14 million.
okay.
Uh,
Well, it's something I didn't add in my intro, but there you go.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
All right.
Like thinking about it, it's like, dang, I honestly could have gone for any other medley event, and I could have gotten a podium. But hey, it's okay.
Well,
It's okay.
at least both of you can now say that medley events, medley live events, you both have experience and
Yeah,
molding
yeah,
over it. It's
definitely.
not the most enjoyable, I could say for certain. But you know, both of you were able to stick through it and be able to get your medley titles.
Yeah.
Mine was a miracle.
I'd say like, since you know with medleys you don't have that much company, like the people who like come in and like talk to you, it just makes it so much worthwhile.
Yeah.
Because they're like actually talking to you and just like giving you company. That's what really helped me get through the event.
Yeah. Scarlett, would you say the same as well with the medley
I
and
was
all
pretty
that?
alone.
Yeah.
I just kept doing random stuff and like I will play 3 medleys and I said, I'm bored, I'm gonna play League, I'm gonna play other games, I'm gonna play Overwatch, I'm gonna listen to music. I just play 3 medleys, do everything else, play 3 medleys, do everything else, so do something else, play 3 medleys. It was always like that. I just got so bored easily.
It really tests your patience and your ability to stay focused and stay determined. It's kind of like school where you kind of have to like, you know, read notes, do homework, listen to lectures, all that, and you just have to stay stay focused on that. It's a very similar feeling, I feel. I've never seriously tiered a medley live event, but just hearing from all like people's stories and all that, I could definitely tell that it could be you know, quite an experience.
I don't recommend it.
Well, either way, well, both of you, this was like lovely just to hear all your wonderful stories about, you know, all your tiering achievements, and I'm sure there'll be more ahead. Before we do that, you know, is there anything else that any of you two want to add to what we've discussed with regards to the achievements you've obtained?
I don't think so. I think like I like chose to retire after Saosugu. Cause I'm like, dang, I'm not doing this again. But I've honestly like recently I feel bad because like I've kind of been drifting away from the game. I haven't been keeping in touch with the community as much. But I still like talk to some people, like just check in, see what's up, you know. But yeah, I have like, you know, stopped playing as much, but hopefully like there are some events that like my friends are probably going for, so hopefully like I can support them and just be there.
For sure.
But honestly, I was considering going for the Ron banner, the one that Scarlett wants to go for. Yeah.
Well, one of the Ron banners.
Yeah, one of them, and I was like, maybe not. And actually, I forgot to mention this, but another coincidence with the Saisugu event is that it also ended up being on one of my breaks, so that worked out perfectly fine. So yeah, but I don't think it would happen a third time, so it's okay. Because my schedule's pretty busy, and I don't think that it'll like work out as pleasantly as I would want it to. So just, you know, supporting my friends from the sidelines is good enough.
Understandable for sure. Well, regardless, all the best in whatever future kind of events that you may or may not do, Kate. But again, it was great to hear from your
Thank you.
stories there.
Thank you.
Yeah. Scarlett, we already heard a little bit about your future plans as well. But anything else you want to add about what we've discussed prior about your experiences and all?
I kind of don't really have any other goals aside from my sunset engraving in yours, Pride of the Heroes.
Rasmus, that? Yeah. Yep. That's applicable versus Giselle, number 2.
But yeah, I might retire, but I haven't decided. I just feel like it was the perfect event to retire with, because the song lyrics also hit me hard in the heart, because it's like it mentions things like One of Us song did, such as like in One of Us lyrics, the lyric that stands out to me the most is the "Hold up your blazing spirit." It kept me going for a lot of time during One of Us. It gave me a lot of passion and motivation, the lyric itself. And I think Ignite Glow song had a similar lyric, talked about how Ron feels inferior compared to Rodelia maybe, and considers them as a rival, such as how I felt after One of Us. It's like all those hard emotions I deal with. It talks about inferiority, like Ron felt, and like stuff like I won't give up. I mean, it doesn't say I won't give up, but it talks about her fire spirit again. Like, hold on. It says like, I don't know how to say. I would just say this. The lyrics hit me hard, so it really makes me feel emotional. So I want to do my best, like retire with the same feelings that started everything. If it makes sense, like how I felt in One of Us, I want to end it again with those feelings.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, all the best as well, Scarlett, on your future event as well. I know this is going to be very important. Maybe like the finale of your journey, but I think regardless, it'll be a very, very wonderful journey to see how things go, and all the best there too.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, again, for both of you, it was a great pleasure having you on the podcast. And thank you so much for taking the time to join and share your wonderful stories about your tiering. I just want to give the opportunity to both of you to share any last words, any last shout outs to our listeners here today. Either of you could start. I'll decide.
Are you sure about this?
Yes.
Okay. Wait, Kate, do you want to go first? I don't feel ready yet.
Oh, if you're not ready, then I can go first.
Yeah.
Okay, so shout out to Kirumi. He saved my life. What a great dude. Like, were you asking for like last words? Or, like,
last words, last shout outs. Any people you want to shout out, or any last words you want to say to the people?
Shout out to Kirumi again. And Mizu for being cute, and just
yes.
Yeah, Scarlett for being cute. And,
no, yeah.
Just everyone listening. You guys are so cool. What else? My mind kind of blinked for a second.
Sometimes concluding is the hardest part.
Thank you, Phil, for having me, because I remember I would watch these podcasts and I'd be like, wow, I'd want to be in one of these, just talking about my Bandori, that would be so cool. But I didn't think that I would actually get an opportunity, and it was all thanks to Scarlett for offering. So I feel like this podcast, it's kind of reignited my appreciation for the community and just the friends that I've made.
Definitely.
So yeah, shout out to Kirumi again. That's all I have to say.
All right. Well, thank you again, Kate, for that. And Scarlett, any last words for you?
Okay. 未来とかどうだっていい今この瞬間を耐え抜いていたい Okay, that's all.
Oh, yes, I love that.
Okay, thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very
It was-
welcome.
Such a nice opportunity.
I'm glad I was able to give that opportunity for both of you to once again reignite your passion for Afterglow and hear more about your lovely stories and such for Tearing. So but that will conclude today's episode today, everyone. So thank you all so much for taking the time to listen to this episode of the Refill Studio. As always, remember to check us out on all of your favorite podcast platforms like YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and of course, feel free to join the Anga Academy Discord server. Links in the description below where you can contribute to the studio question that we have every podcast, and of course, be able to listen to these podcasts live and interact with our special guests. So until then, the set has been complete. Remember to refill to 99, get those cans ready for the next set. But until then, thank you all so much for listening. So we'll see you all next time. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.